All right. Hello, everyone.
This is the Panda
Monium.
Podcast.
I'm Levi.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Alan.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive.
We did not plan that.
No one could have seen that, of course, but we went around the table, like a well-oiled machine.
I don't think the machines go around tables, Levi.
However... Yeah.
Well-oiled machines tend to go in circular motions.
Thank you, guys. I was at a blank there.
Okay. So, what kind of topics did we
got a lot of them today. Well, there's a few I wanted to talk about, but I actually do think the first one I want to talk about is the Oculus Rift thing, just to get it out of the way. Because we did talk about it last time, but we only kind of brought it up as a cool idea. But it looks like one of our own, who has more disposable income than I assumed he had, went out and spent the $300 for the development kit. So
Yep. You put something that nice in front of me, and I'm gonna buy it. It's just how it works.
So I think.
So I'm excited to get that. Hopefully Monday or Tuesday I'll get it, and I'll start making some stuff. You guys can be my guinea pigs. And be the first people to try them out.
Just don't give us seizures.
Oh, that's my first idea.
It's the hazard that comes with the Oculus Rift.
What, Outlast? If you can get that.
Outlast, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
no. Yes.
I don't want that. I won't play your game.
We don't play regular Outlast. Why would we? I mean...
Make a Tales game, and man, I'll be all in that.
Right?
That would be pretty good.
Well, that's good. Let's talk about,
Let's start off with something small, guys. Aliens.
Okay. Break the ice.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Aliens. What about aliens?
Well, so, I mean, in more recent times, it's becoming more and more apparent that people were realizing that aliens aren't always going to be humanoid. But now that that's become more of a general consensus, what kind of aliens do you think could exist? Like, what kind of creatures do you think would evolve to be sentient and able to travel and able to understand and things like that?
Okay, I'm gonna have to bring it up again. Disposable thumbs. That's a must for sentient.
Disposable thumbs.
Disposable.
What is disposable?
Wait, what is it called again? What is it called again?
Oh my gosh.
Opposable. I still don't even know it.
You didn't purposely do that? I thought you purposely did that.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay,
I thought you were saying,
thumbs.
no, they need to have disposable thumbs, like, a blow dart thumb.
Unless they have, telekinetic powers, and because then they need to be able to, use tools, and, I can't really see another good way of using tools.
But
other than,
we have the opposable
damn.
thumb, but if their hands were a little less rigid, like if their bone structure was a little more flexible, if or something,
so
they might be able to grip things in a different way. Yeah. Think like a snake. Mm-hmm.
See, then you get into weird anime tentacle stuff.
Tentacle.
But it's a possibility. I mean, what's preventing a species to have developed, legs, but maybe more of a, tentacle-like arm with tentacle appendages? Don't necessarily need to be opposable.
Yeah,
they don't look like a hand.
Now, are we imagining that these aliens come find us, or we find them?
No, anyway, yeah.
Because if they come find us, I'm doubtful that they'll just be the weirdest looking thing you've ever seen. Well, I mean, I guess they would look weird, but not like squid on legs type thing.
I'm not saying a squid on legs, like
Octodad.
I'm not saying like squid on legs.
If we found them, though, it could be that way.
Like, what if
How does that matter?
What does it matter whether or not they
How
can?
does finding them change their characteristics of them?
Because I can't fathom anyone having cognitive thought enough to travel space and look that bad.
But to them, they're normal.
Yeah,
maybe we look like weirdos to them. Yeah, we probably look like some weird creature that roams around on our world. That's like stupid and everything, you know? Like,
I mean, they're smarter
like
than we are. They got here. They've proven to have developed, faster than light travel.
Yeah, I'd still be a little wary of them.
Yeah, you'd be wary of anything, though.
Yeah. What would your stance be? Would you be pro aliens or
No.
against aliens? Like,
I'd be okay with them visiting, but
No, I wouldn't trust them. If they were smart enough to get here, I don't want them staying here.
yeah, but you're assuming we have any possible means of making sure they
could be
go
nice.
away.
Like, do you want us to bug you? No.
But if they're that
GTFO, and they're gone.
no, but if they're
probably
if they're
here
courteous,
for resources.
No, if they're courteous enough to ask you, do you want us around? Is that someone you really want to kick away?
They could be playing you.
Okay, but if let's say they're playing us and they say, do you want us around? We say, no, because we think you're playing us. Then they go, okay, round 2, give us all your resources or we're going to blow up your planet.
That was going to be their round 2 anyway. Do you want us to say, no, you can say, okay, great, give us all your resources.
Here's the thing. No, here's the thing. Why say get out? Because you think they might be taking our resources. What if they are what if they really are that nice? What if they're here to help us?
All we're doing right now in that argument is just changing the way that we're screwed.
This just reminds
Not
me
really.
of like the
That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, so here's the thing. There'll be 2 reasons why aliens would make their way to us. One would be for resources, or the other would be just for scientific exploration. And so
to boldly go.
Yeah.
Where no squid tentacle thing has gone before.
So the thing is that if they're going to come to take our resources, I doubt they're going to ask, because for the most part, if they're just searching for resources and everything, I doubt it's because of they really care about the way things are treated or the ecosystem or whatever. So they'll probably just come and take it.
And if they're Saiyans, they only need like a power level of 800 to just blow up our world.
Great. I hope that aliens don't find us. That's kind of how I want to finish
Well,
that
I don't know.
thought.
Have you guys ever seen? I saw something.
Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
No,
Oh
like
my
it was
God.
a scientific. It was a scientific show, like going
Film
over. It was, I don't remember what it was, but it went over, like they found some worlds out there that
Like
could sustain life.
Goldilocks.
Yeah.
Like
Goldilocks.
Europa from Jupiter, like
Yeah.
there might be water underneath it.
No, like they really, really, really far off planets in different
Yeah.
distant areas that like had a world where
Yeah, you need to be the right distance from the sun. away
that
from
well
the
they
sun,
kind of
big
had
enough.
like some of the aspects of
Yeah.
that, and so they discussed the possibility of what kind of creatures would have to be there in order to survive. And there's like, I remember there's I just want, this is my last comment. I remember there's this one planet that was like in a red sun, and so where there's a red sun, all plants would end up being black, because black gets red sunlight best and everything, and it also had very high winds, and so the creatures that would live there would end up just being really big slugs, is what they had said. If like based on scientific data, really big slugs that would sit in the wind, and as the wind blew all this dust and stuff, they would kind of ingest it and then exude whatever they didn't need, like fish do with water and gills and the oxygen.
Well, moving on. So, okay, I wanted to bring this up because yesterday I was playing Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64.
Are you kidding me?
And Donkey Kong 64
Oh my
on the
gosh.
Nintendo 64. And I
Yes.
just wanted to bring up the kind of almost sad state of the video game industry nowadays.
Yes.
Whereas, like back then, yeah, Mario 64
Yeah,
and
these awesome
Donkey Kong
stories.
64, they weren't that great in graphics or anything like that, but man, you enjoyed playing those games. They were fun. The mechanics were fun.
They
The
brought new
stories was
challenges.
great, and it wasn't baby feeding, thing.
Yeah.
You go through Mario, you don't know that you get a star when you get 100 coins right away. One of the Toads ends up mentioning it or something probably, but you don't know what you need to do.
Yeah, it's not one of those games where right at the very beginning they're like, press X to shoot.
Yeah.
And then press O to jump. Now you learned all the mechanics of our game for 20 minutes, because then you're going to be done with it. It's like...
And there's no you go into the first level.
That sounds exactly like the campaign for Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. But you go into the first level, let's say the bomb mountain thing.
Yeah.
Okay, you have that first star, and it has a little sentence above the star for what the star is for.
Come find me.
But
where are you?
Yeah, but that's all it does. You have no idea what you're supposed to do for it. You just kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's just it was just such a better thing.
And it drives me crazy that these games will still have walkthroughs though. And it's like, what do you need a walkthrough for? The campaign's 2 seconds long and everything's linear and you go straight through and you can pick up it and as many times as you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how many times you die.
I like Final Fantasy. I like Final Fantasy 13. They were great games. The graphics were awesome and everything like that.
Yeah.
One of the things about the original Final Fantasy 13 game that, got at me was the fact that up until chapter 11 out of 13 chapters, it was just all linear.
Yeah.
It was just you walk straight, you fight things, and you go through the story. And the story was great. It was a really good story. The fighting style was new and everything like that. But for Final Fantasy, you're used to a world where you can travel, and do stuff and everything like that.
Yeah. Think of Final Fantasy 1 and 2. You didn't even know where you were supposed to go.
Oh my gosh, there's one point in that game where you're just like, what am I supposed to do now?
And it was back in the time frame where GameFAQs wasn't that big yet when I was playing it. And so
even then, when it first came out, the internet wasn't that.
Obviously.
Those games, you had to read everything in order to understand what's going on.
What game was it where there's this point where
you can save a cat or something?
No, you save a mouse from a cat. And
here's how it works.
Wait, I don't know this far.
So it's one of the worst games because what happens is you get to a point in the game and there's a cut scene where a cat is chasing a mouse.
So this is totally different from Final Fantasy.
No, it's not Final Fantasy. It's a different game. And it's chasing this mouse, and it looks like a cutscene, but you don't realize that you can actually do something there. You're supposed to stop the cat and save the mouse, and there's a point further along down the way, far enough that it's annoying enough where you needed to have saved the mouse so the mouse can help you out. And if you didn't save the mouse, there's no way you can continue, and you have to start the game all the way over from the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Those were the days, though. Remember the original Tomb Raider game?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Those
on
were
the computer, right?
Those were good.
Because I played an
original PlayStation.
It may have been.
They may have had a PC version.
I remember being scared of that game because
it was so hard.
It was hard, the jumping and everything and climbing the ledge, but I loved the mechanics because you could do the shimmy and you'd run, jump, and you could do the cool shooting. But there was a point where you were in a ruin, and monkeys would just come out and attack
gorillas.
you. Yeah, gorillas.
Yeah.
It was the scariest thing ever.
The worst part too is in that level, it's you had the gorillas that came out, and if you killed the gorillas, you're like, oh, you're fine. So you're just sitting there looking around, trying to figure out what to do, and then all of a sudden this guy appears and he just starts shooting at you, and you're like, what are you supposed to do?
The music's like
That's what did it for you. That's like the same thing when I'm fighting Titan Extreme. The second that you get into After the Heart, everything's pumping, adrenaline goes forward, and you're just like, this is it, because that's where most mistakes happen.
Hands down, though, the best game of my childhood would have to be Mega Man Legends.
Oh man.
That was a good
I don't think I ever played that.
You should.
Was it a Game Boy game?
It was PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
You can get it. We have it. We could let you borrow the PlayStation 2 and you could play it.
I loved the Super Nintendo games. You guys, I don't think you guys ever played Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. Did you ever play the Toy Story game?
It sounds...
I remember
It was
playing
odd.
that sometimes.
Well, what ended up happening is there's no way if you lose all your lives, it's over. You start back in Andy's room at the very beginning, and it's so annoying because there's so many levels. And you get to a point where you use Buzz and you need to use Karate Chop. None of me or my siblings knew what we were doing at that point. It didn't tell you this is how you use Karate Chop. And we're like, and we'd die. And then when there was one time that they got lucky and got past something, I don't know if they figured it out, but then they got to an area where you're on that race car thing, and they're like, how do you go? And I didn't get to play it, so I didn't get to like press every button and find out, but it's those kinds of games where it's like, what am I supposed to do? Find it out. It doesn't say, here's your little pause help.
Like, it was critical thinking skills that you gained from these kind of games and everything like that.
Now it's just like their interactive movies, basically.
Yeah, that's very true. But, just how it is. So just a funny story. I wanted to mention it because I know Aaron won't, but we were just out, totally pulled off a stupid move. Your egg crushing.
My egg?
What?
The chocolate egg.
Oh.
Wait, you were the one who crushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened?
I thought you meant him being a jerk to me.
Yeah.
That's what I thought first too.
No.
I guess that's nothing new though.
Yeah, I mean, that's not as cool as me breaking a candy egg.
Yeah.
And then not telling anyone about it.
Well, what you picked it up and you just.
I didn't
What?
How much pressure?
You don't know your own strength. What did you do?
I was
You
tested. Like, like fruit? You want to
squeeze it? Well, because chocolate has more ripe chocolate eggs.
You don't want bad chocolate.
It's not just like that.
Too ripe.
You check to see if
It's already
the
broken.
chocolate's
If it's
already
already
melting.
broken,
No,
or
if it's
like-
melting and such like that. Like that's my thing that I don't like. I don't want to buy chocolate that's already melted to its wrapping. And so that's what I would have done.
Yeah,
I would have
but
tested it, but then it pops.
He goes in, and he just squishes it and just leaves it there in the
Oh my
little
gosh.
candy thing. He couldn't have just eaten it really quick.
I'm not gonna eat it. Doesn't make it have something on you.
Because you're smashing the egg.
That's just negligence.
It was just funny. Oh man. So, what's next?
Alright, so if magic existed, what power would you guys choose?
Would we choose? Is that what that was going to be? Or what kind of magic would be in the world?
That's what I want it to be.
Like if magic existed, what
would you
power would I
choose?
choose? Or how would magic manifest
would you-
itself in my mind if magic existed?
Okay, yeah, how about that?
How about that one?
Let's describe your way of how magic would work, so I can describe to you my way of how I wanted to do it for my story.
Okay.
What story?
What? Just one of my mangas.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Yeah, go for it.
Now I don't want to do it.
Why
I
not?
can tell you don't want to hear it.
No, I was trying to think of what I would even think of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the story is about a magician and everything like that. And so how it works is everyone in their body, chakra, that you have the 7 chakras and everything like that. Well, what I wanted it to be was that, the chakra idea is sort of right.
Aren't they called chakras though? But Naruto is chakra.
I've heard it both ways.
Okay.
My old Tai Chi teacher used to do it that way.
Okay.
Anyways, what it really was in the past when magic was something that people could use. You had pretty much a ball of soul essence, or whatever we determined the magic to be, and it was where the heart chakra is. So it's kind of just in the center of your body, next to your heart and everything like that. But it ended up getting sealed, everyone's got sealed. And so as the mythology spread, it just turned to 7 chakras, but what it really is just 1. And so if you were to manage to unlock the seal around your soul essence, you could start using it for magic. And each spell would use some of the energy, and you can recoup the energy by eating and sleeping and, things like friendship and stuff help recover the energy just for the sake of, what?
Carry.
Bonds.
Yeah, just stuff like that.
What about evil people? How do they get it back?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far.
Eating, glutton.
No, it would be the same thing, but they probably wouldn't have the carrying and the bonds. spirit
They
energy.
will have to eat or
Or-
sleep.
And that's
or
why
they
they
could-
fail.
or they could have a darker soul essence that just, manifested itself with the, regret and pain of the person who was controlling it or whatever. So let's assume that. But how it would work, one cool thing that I thought of that's different was that you could create spell programs. So essentially, like, you could create a small little like pill of a spell that would program a list of things. So like if you wanted to do an ice attack, how it would work is you would chill the air, gather water, and then you would create ice, and then you would use magic to propel it.
Okay.
So each of those separate things would take spirit energy or soul essence or whatever. And if you created a pill, the spell program, and you ate the pill and you had the spell program in you, and you use it by imbuing it with magic and everything like that, then you would take less spirit energy and it would all happen on its own. So you would just say, I'm going to activate my ice spell. The pill would activate. It would do all three things in order, and it would only take a fraction of the spirit energy, so you could save your energy. So
That's
if
cool.
you're a really good magician, you could create really cool spell programs, and you could do a lot of spell programs during the day or however long it takes to get your spirit energy to run out. So like if you wanted to do like a giant mega fireball, and it normally took like 50 points, but you made a spell program, you could cut it down to like 10 spell points or whatever.
Do you poop out these pills?
No, it's not like it's not like a real pill. It's like a magical program, and you imbue it into yourself. Think of it like
download it.
Think of it
into
like
your body,
kind of like downloading.
Your magical computer.
Yeah, you're in a sense it's like that, and you're imbuing yourself with it. It's kind of like materia in a sense. You're infusing yourself with it.
I like Full Metal Alchemist style, where we're just screwing over like another world or
We're
another
stealing
reality.
their energy.
We're just stealing their energy.
Is
and
that
we
what's
get to
happening?
use whatever we
Okay,
want.
no, that's only true in the original one.
Oh.
The original one, there's our world, like
Okay.
our world, and then there's their world, and they follow the same. They follow the timeline. Like it's the same year in both worlds, but each one has its own thing. And so the energy used for the alchemy in their world is the energy that the death caused by our world sends over there. And so that's why alchemy doesn't exist in our world, and our world is more based on science, because we have to use what's around there where they get that extra energy, and that's where the alchemy comes from.
Interesting.
Isn't that like the worst screw you to
Yeah.
Yeah, but if the world didn't know.
But now I know.
Well, that's like, isn't that a lot like Symphonia though, where
I was
there's
thinking
the
that
two
same
worlds
thing.
and-
Yeah.
And they each vie for the mana.
Nothing's original anymore. I'm so sad.
Well, it's
Yeah,
because it's
it's-
hard to make something.
I mean, yeah, think
original.
about how many stories are out
Like,
there.
is it even
Which
possible
makes
to be
me
original
sad.
nowadays, though? That's the thing. Like, can you come up with any story, and if you were knowledgeable on just stories in general, be able to say, no, that's this storyline, or no, that's this storyline? Because I don't think that anyone can possibly come up with, this has never been thought of before.
Okay, but I mean, that's definitely true. No one can. But there are some things that you don't see enough of that's kind of original. For instance, I saw a movie last night, and it was called... I know what it was called. Because it was something... It's like a time movie, but it's like...
Timeline
No,
shift.
no, it's recently came out.
It's a recent movie?
Like, where'd you see it in theaters?
No, it came
Inception.
out on video.
Definitely not Looper,
It could be.
because Loopers suck.
Oh, I gotta look it up.
Whatever.
All right.
Okay, but anyways, I don't remember the name of the movie, but the premise of the movie is there's this guy, and he turns 21, and his dad pulls him in and tells him, hey, our family has this power. When the males of our family turn 21, if we go into a closet and we close our eyes and clench our fists, we can go back in time to any point in our
That is the
timeline.
weirdest way to do that.
It was odd.
I hate my life.
Well, that's what Kylie was thinking. The first person, how the first person figured it out. They just went into the closet and like, I just want to go back to then. Whoa, what's going on?
Either that or they weren't even thinking that. Maybe they were just upset that like a girlfriend like broke up with them. I'm like, I don't think that people go in their closets after a girlfriend breaks up with them and just clenches like that. But there had to be something.
Well, it doesn't have to be a closet. It just has to be a dark place.
And you have to clench. Like
you have to clench.
That was part of the thing. I don't know if you have to.
To train, you just do some
do you
clenching
stay fixed
exercises.
in space and just move time, or did you also like move to a different place?
No, you would be in the same closet you were in when you did it.
Okay.
But you would go to a certain point in time. And so it was a love story. So he uses his power to, get the girl of his dreams. But then there's like a back and forth about using his, so his sister ends up getting like with this really douchey guy and, ends up like getting into a car accident and stuff like that. So he wants to go back in time to make sure she never gets with the guy. But when he goes back and does that, he goes forward in time and he had a daughter with his wife. But when he went back and changed that, he went back and the daughter was a son instead. And so, but she was like she had been 3 years old, so she had kind of fallen in love with the daughter and everything like that. And so it was like
That's
trying
weird.
to figure out, So every time you had a kid, you couldn't go back before you had that kid and change things because it would change the kid. And so it ended up being this really interesting story.
Star Trek Voyager, anyone?
Which one?
The one where the whole ship was trapped in time and he was trying to destroy planets or whatever.
Oh yeah,
to get back his.
Yeah,
civilization.
that's right.
He kept like
Every time he changed one thing, it would change the whole universe.
Yeah.
But he was trying to get it to be 100% back to the way it was, so he could have his wife back.
Or was it his wife or daughter?
I don't know.
It was
One of
some
the two,
girl.
Yeah.
Now, why do we have rape and racism written down on the topic?
And racism.
No, do we want to talk about it?
I just want to know why we have it on there.
I don't know why you guys wanted the race thing on there.
Don't point it at me.
What are you talking about?
I was
You wrote down rape
You were
on
the
there,
one
huh?
writing
What are you
down.
interested about
You
rape
told me
for?
to put it on there, Levi. Wow. Okay, look, we're not talking about those.
What else we got?
So, Alan, you wanted to tell us about your ghost theory.
Oh yeah, so I for the longest time have believed that ghosts exist, but not in the way people think about it. So
I'm just kidding.
obviously, if ghosts existed in the way people thought about it, I believe that it'd be more prominent worldwide where you would see ghosts. So
Yeah.
I want to come up with a theory that I felt explained how ghosts came about, but was also could be maybe scientifically proven. And I came up with the idea that our mind is composed of both chemical and electrical pulses and everything. And based on the assumption that most ghosts come from a very traumatic death, I came to the hypothesis that the death could have caused such a surge in the brain, in the electrochemical pulses, that it created an electrical pulse that was strong enough to remain stationary in the air or in the airwaves after the person had died. And when someone came across those waves and they had a brain chemistry that would be compatible with someone else, or more compatible with the waves around, they would get the chemical imbalance. The chemical electrical pulse would create a vision in their head based on those pulses that they would see something, and they would assume it was a ghost because they're seeing what happened to this person who died, like what happened to the very last moments and everything.
Wow.
And I thought, it would make sense why only certain people could see ghosts, because maybe only those people's brain chemistry matched closer to what the person who died is, and then it would also explain why some people would be able to see something and some wouldn't, because if they're seeing something in their brain, it could be setting off auditory and visual sensors that they could actually believe they're seeing or hearing these things, whereas no one else can, because it's all happening in their head. And that would also explain why you're seeing less and less ghosts nowadays. For one, there's a lot more
Electrical
wave frequencies floating around and everything. For two, a lot of desensitization has occurred in the world, and so traumatic death is becoming less of a thing. And so most of the time...
In America.
And that's what I'm saying. And most of my assumptions come from America, because I don't really do it. Mostly from developed, very developed countries, because I haven't really looked much into ghost stories from less developed countries and everything. And
so problems. We don't get ghosts.
We don't get ghosts anymore. But then it would also explain why, because I mean, you never see ghosts in places that are more modern. So obviously, that's because not as many people have died, and less people have died traumatically and things like that. And you never hear of a ghost who died because laying in bed and growing old of age or anything most of the time. So I thought it was a good theory, and I figured you can test it by trying to elicit a very emotional response from someone and measuring the air around him to see how it affects the airways around them. If you could prove that there was enough electrical pulses in the airways after eliciting that kind of response, then you could hypothesize that could be the reason why it happens when someone dies. So.
How do you feel about human testing? We could maybe
Well,
it wouldn't be ethical, so it would be hard to test. But
how do you feel about unethical human testing?
I feel unethical about it.
Touche.
Are we boring you, Levi?
No.
Are we boring you, Daniel?
I was part of the conversation last one. So let's talk about Shuffle.
No.
Why not?
No.
I think you're right, though. I think you just chose the wrong one. Why did you choose the one you chose?
Oh my gosh. No. Let's talk about a better anime.
I watched it with...
You
did watch Shuffle?
You did watch it.
I did watch Shuffle.
You did. That's right. You did mention it.
At least I got through what I could stomach. But, I was watching it with Amanda a long time ago, and...
Okay, so who did you want the guy to end up with?
That's the thing. It's kind of like everything's blurred, and I've seen so many similar animes that I can't remember exactly. So what color were all the girls' hair? They weren't normal. They weren't normal. Was there a red one?
So he went with the green-haired one.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And there was red.
There was red, which was purple, and so those were the two. And then there was his childhood friend that you found out that crazy story that involved them, that he'd been living with and she'd been caring for him. And then there was that other little girl that came out of nowhere.
So who did you want him to be with? The one from the younger one?
It was only fair to her for everything that she had done to make up for it, that he would choose her. It's only fair. However,
she was crazy.
She was crazy. There's the problem. She was unbelievably crazy. So I felt bad for her in that sense, but I could understand where, when you have that kind of childhood. However, he should have gone with the red-haired girl. So much better looking, so much more lively, so much more willing to live life.
She was... Yeah,
you wanted the red-haired girl?
I wanted the red-haired girl to have gone.
So why did he choose the one he chose?
I don't know. She all of a sudden, out of nowhere, probably hidden away, had these... Stop it, Aaron. Had these medical problems, and she ended up going into the hospital, and randomly he's like, yeah, I've always had feelings for you, kind of thing. And you're like, where did this come from?
He's the soft side.
Okay.
He's probably like a fixer-upper then,
Oh, no, it was just... Yeah. no, it was dumb. And you ask anyone who watches that show who doesn't know what's going to happen in the end, and they'll have always chosen someone other than that girl.
Yeah.
So why did you want to talk about
Sword Art
Samurai
Online.
Champloo?
I wanted to talk about Samurai Champloo because that has to be, aside from the very first episode, that has to be the worst anime of all time, in my opinion.
What's it about?
Why?
It's the story about like these two mercenaries that get hired on by this like waitress at the time because she's trying to go find like her father, which is a samurai that smells of sunflowers. Okay?
So
Yeah.
that's the description.
That's the defining characteristic. Are
Yeah.
you? No, you smell like crap.
Yeah. And so they go and everything, and they're always fighting each other and everything.
Who's fighting each other?
The two mercenaries.
Okay.
And they
Like,
end up fighting other
like,
people.
literally fighting?
Literally, like they want to kill each other, and then I think they do end up finding it. But like, I for me, when I start an anime, I have to finish it, and so I think it took me about a year to finish this anime because
How many episodes?
it was only like 26 episodes because I could not stomach watching them more than like one episode at a time, and then I'd be like, well, that episode was just a letdown. I can't go on to the next one. But I was like, I gotta finish. Maybe it gets better. The first episode was okay, but don't let it trick you. It is the worst thing ever.
Wow, that's too bad.
The ending of every anime ever, huh?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
A lot of animes need to work on their
ending.
ending.
Okay,
You know-
no. A Bridge in the Starry Night Skies. If you're looking for like a romance one, that one ends exactly how you would hope. And I was like, okay, kudos, thank you.
Let's see.
That's a normal love episode.
What was
Anime.
there's an anime that I saw that
Sword
just
Art
ended
Online.
terribly.
Other than the end.
No.
Like-
Because they haven't.
I mean, the
quite
end I
ended.
liked.
They
It was everything about the second season that I was like,
Second
but
season
the first
also
12
was.
episodes, oh my gosh, that was awesome.
like Code Geass, like sad.
That one was
ending.
a unexpected,
Unexpected, but that was
unnecessary
epic.
ending.
good.
Yes.
That was just so good.
Yeah.
You can't. Oh, that was so good. No, I'm
It
trying.
wasn't how you would want it to have ended, but
Oh, it's how I want it to end. I don't like Hollywood cliches. Everyone gets to live. Everyone gets
Yeah.
to be
No,
happy.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
The
that's a
whole.
good point.
But that's the thing. The whole.
But I mean, it's
spoilers.
true-
Okay.
yeah, spoiler
Code
alert.
Geass. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it yet,
Stop.
stop listening now. The fact is Lelouch had to die.
yeah.
There was no way the world was going to work if he stuck around. And he, like, when they made the Zero proclamation, was that Zero? The little thing that the decision that he and Suzaku made, they
Yeah.
knew at the very end, Lelouch was
Well,
going to
yeah,
die.
I mean, when they came up with that, when the story all culminated to that moment when he found out what his dad was really trying to do
Yeah.
and all that had to do there, then it was the necessary ending, and that makes sense as to there. I just wasn't expecting it because I didn't see that part happen right there. And then it was just too bad because it screws Suzaku over. He
Yeah,
can't.
he's well. The thing is he was dead. Like, according to everyone, he's dead.
He's dead, yeah.
And he will be forever dead. It screws up Lelouch because he's dead. Okay. It
Pretty much
screws
literally.
up Nunnally.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's true.
That
That was
everyone
sad,
who-
by the way.
that was
Euphemia? Are you kidding me?
Okay. It screws
Ah.
up. It screws up Lelouch's entire good side of the family throughout that entire
Yeah.
series. It now screws up all of the people who had called him ally. You know, like he was. You know, he may have had his own ulterior motives, but the truth is he worked for these people and he helped these people get to where they needed to be free again.
And they all.
And then they all,
Turning on him was just, it made me mad. It made me very upset for the voice actor of Detard. Because I love
because
that guy.
I love his voice.
He's awesome.
He's
Malik
like he's
Caesar
like
from
my
Tales of
favorite
Gracie.
voice actor.
He's awesome.
Commander Jigbar on
I have no idea.
Scride. You've
Oh.
never seen that one yet. You
Oh
have to see
yeah,
that
oh
one.
that one was
Scride?
awesome.
Scride.
How do you spell that?
S-cry-ed.
Oh. What is that on? I don't think that's on Crunchyroll.
No.
I don't know.
That one was
That
amazing.
one was so good.
You know, I still haven't even finished Brotherhood yet because it's nowhere else to be found.
Wait, it's on
It's on-
Netflix.
Only the first half.
Oh really?
Yeah. That entire second half. So I'm literally stopped
still
at
haven't
one
watched
point where.
Yeah, brother.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah, that's right. I was about to spoil that.
No, there's
saved the viewers.
There's like
That's
an
good.
anime that I just could not stand the ending. I don't know. I don't know. There's a manga though.
Angel Beats was an interesting ending.
But it was still
That was
good.
good ending.
It still was a good
I wasn't
ending.
ever gonna say that was a bad ending.
I love how we started out this topic as animes that ended badly.
Yeah, but I can't.
We're talking about all the
No,
ones.
it's because
that-
I've blocked out all the
You
ones.
did it right. Peace, guys, did it right.
Pokemon hasn't ended, which is what's making them bad. No, there's this.
Naruto.
My
going back in the
theory
past.
is if it's anything longer than 26 episodes, it usually has an okay ending. If it's like the 26 episode mark, then maybe it's okay of an
Hit or
ending.
miss.
But those animes that are like 13 episodes long, they never have a good ending.
But those are the only animes I watch, which is my problem.
Yeah. No. Okay. There's this manga called Siren, and if it ever comes out to be an anime, watch it. It was worth it. It was such a good read. No. What was it? Maybe
Attack on Titan started getting good at the end. Finally.
Is it
I was
finished?
talking to Amar, and he loves Attack.
Yeah.
See, I don't
Well,
understand the
everyone
human
does.
opinion of
Everyone
that.
does.
I was hearing someone else talking about that too. It's like, how could you like the first 12 or 13 episodes? Nothing happened. They just talked about how terrible it is.
It's political, and I know you don't like that, but I love the political aspect.
So
'cause
you loved it too.
I mean, it took me a while to finish the last 2 episodes because
See,
I just thought it was going.
That's where I loved it though. It was right at the point where Captain Levi just started kicking
You just
butt.
want action, though.
I'm okay with the politics though. I enjoy that. I've been enjoying Log Horizon because I
but
like.
you don't like the politics of it either, though.
No, that one I enjoy the politics more. It's just very long-winded politics right now that's going on. And so with Attack on Titan, there's just so much follow-up that they had to redeem themselves by making 13.5. Oh, this is an entire episode to catch you up to this point because everything before here was boring as crap.
The reason
and then
the
from
reason
then
they made
forward, it was good.
13.5 was because when it was coming out and you couldn't watch, a lump sum of episodes all in one day, a lot had gone on, and then there was probably a break, and they wanted to make an episode to help everyone catch up just because there had been a break. You saw it as that because
The
you
fact
saw
that
them
they
all
could
together.
make one episode that could really put together 12 episodes.
But here's the difference.
Exactly.
Here's the difference. I watched 13.5, and I had to ask Levi a ton of questions because I did not understand what was going on. There was a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah, it was meant to
But
update
I
you.
explained it easier than you would have had to bear through that.
But that's the difference. Is I could easily explain One Piece to you
Oh, please no.
up till the end of the Alabasta arc, and it wouldn't
Did you
take
honestly
as long.
watch all of
I am
One Piece?
I am caught
Did you
up.
watch it all or read part of them?
I'm currently caught up to date on the chapters, and I'm currently caught up to date on the show in English.
You actually watched.
I've actually watched every episode.
Wow.
It's 324 episodes right now. And on top of that, I've watched over 700 episodes of Pokemon.
Yeah,
Gurren Lagann. That was another good one.
I still haven't watched
That was a good one.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either.
You guys should. It was good. It was worth watching. Anything happened this
No.
week? No.
Just kind of more thinking about our story, where we're gonna go with Mishima. and-
Yeah.
Coming up with that entire story.
We
that
came
got
out. We
yesterday.
actually came out with a really good story arc system that will get us a lot of episodes from here for a while. So if you're listening to this podcast and you've already started watching our stuff, please be excited because there's going to be quite a bit more.
I am so excited.
We've been talking about filming mechanics,
Yep.
a lot of things. I know it's a machinima, but we've tried to kind of up the ante with machinima because of all the different things we have at our disposal for this game. And
We really want it to be like high quality, good, production wise, and almost a little bit cinematic to the point where it's maybe like you're watching a show.
yeah.
Well, where we have the idea for the story, it's
Yeah,
an
like
amazing show.
I-
This
if-
is going to be so cool.
If you guys didn't want to see a machinima and you wanted us to either make a video game or our own anime series, we could take this story and
That's a
implemented
good story.
ourselves, and you guys would love it. I guarantee you would.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
So that's exciting.
That is exciting. Okay, we got a few more topics here.
We're gonna have to have just a.
So,
like
was it
this
you,
video
the
game
egg of
day.
the house story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Alan.
Okay. So we're just kind of trying to think of like any funny stories that we hadn't mentioned and everything. And there's a story back when I was in middle school and I was going through my rebellious teenager phase and everything, where I was coming home from somewhere skateboarding and everything, and it was in the neighborhood, and I was like skateboarding on the side of the road instead of the sidewalk because it's
You rebel.
there's more of the road. No, that's not where the rebel is. It's a two-part story. But I was skateboarding on the road, and this jackass in a truck comes barreling down the road at like 45 miles an hour and nearly misses me.
Oh, then.
Barely. Like he was like his side view mirror was an inch from where I was. So I moved out of the way as fast as I could and everything. I turned around and I flipped the guy off. Next thing I know, I hear a cocoon as the guy stops the truck, and all of a sudden out walks this short guy with like all these muscles and this other tall guy with all these muscles. They're like barreling down on me like bruisers and everything. And here I am, like I'm 14 years old, 15 years old maybe, and there's these two big guys coming over here trying to look intimidating and everything, and they're like, why'd you flip us off? Are you disrespecting us and everything? I'm like, well, I nearly died when you guys came barreling down the road, so I figured I'd repay the favor. And so he's all like, what did you just say? And I'm like, you guys nearly hit me as you were coming down the road and everything. And he's like, you're not supposed to be on the road. And I was just like, yeah, I can be. This is a neighborhood area. And you know what? I bet if you had hit me, you wouldn't be singing the same tune. And the guys just kept looking at me, and they spit to the side, and they went back to their car and drove away. And I was so pissed off at them. But luckily, a few weeks later...
Are you serious? Like you egged their house?
Yeah. A few
Oh my
weeks later,
gosh.
I was, because they lived in the neighborhood. A few weeks later, I was walking around the neighborhood, and I saw the guy standing out by his car and everything, and I'm like, I know where your house
Oh
is
my
now.
gosh.
So that Halloween, Halloween was a few weeks later, I took like 5, 6, 7 eggs and everything, walked to his house, and when no one was looking, just pelted his front door and windows. Really
Wow.
showed him. Rebel.
I didn't realize that there was a different part because you told me that story shortly
Yeah.
after it happened.
Yeah,
I
just
remember
never
that
said
story.
I never egged a house, but I did a lot of TPing. And
Did you use the hose afterwards?
No,
Oh.
but I remember
That's
one where it was pretty late. I'd say like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we had walked down to actually around where what's Alyssa used to live.
Okay.
And so we were around a house over there, and we did our job, and everything. And Brayden had brought his girlfriend, and I think there was like another girl there too. And I didn't realize it at the time, but like his girlfriend was in flip-flops, and the other girl was like in heels or something.
Oh my gosh, I don't know where this
Or-
is going.
and
Oh, no.
and right as we got done, we're kind of like walking down the street, like pretty happy with ourselves, and this car kind of like turns the bend, and then it keeps going, and then it stops right in front of the house that we had just TP'd, and it starts, and we're like trying to act casual and everything,
Yeah,
and then it
that's
starts
too
like
bad.
backing up, and so we all just like book it, and like right by that house there's just a field of thorns and weeds.
Oh my gosh, she ran through that.
We had to run through it, and they the
Not-
car pretty much had caught up to them because they were so slow in their flip flops and trying to run through like the field of thorns and
Can you
weeds. And
imagine?
I like made it all the way to this like tunnel by the high school, that the
Yeah.
little underpass thing. And I was like there cleaning out my shoes, getting ready to run again if I could, and I was kind of like watching down, seeing like if they actually got caught and everything. And they actually stopped and ended up like talking with the people in the car, and they're like, "Did you do that?" And then they're like, "No." And they're like, "Why'd your friends run off then?" And then they're like, I think they were just scared or something, and like they played it up.
Wow.
How
Kudos.
how believable can you be when like it's 3:00 in the morning, teenagers are out, and they book it the first and they see like it was bad.
So, leading from that, we were talking about like times you got away with a lie or something like that. I know some people had some good stories.
Did I ever tell you guys about the time that I tried to
Go to Lagoon?
Yeah. No, I don't think you ever told Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron probably knows.
We
That one
know
was just
this.
bad. Yeah, I just tried to. So originally we were gonna have a bus, but they canceled it. So everyone else was gonna drive down there, but I felt like Mom and Dad wouldn't like it if I got a ride with people. So I just said, "Yeah, there's a bus. Just drop me off at the school." And so
So Dad takes him there, and then he's like waiting for the bus, and he's like, "Oh, maybe it's on the opposite side of the school or something." And so Dad's like, "Okay, I'll take you." And you're like, "No, it's not." But I remember Dad telling me the story too, and the way he tells it was like, because he just knew the whole time, and he's like, he's just full of crap.
You know what I hate? You know what I hate about these kind of things, okay? You guys tried to pull this crap over them, okay? And you guys got these little groundings and stuff like that. There are 2 times in my life where I got huge groundings, and they were honest mistakes for me. Okay, do you remember that time we went to the Pokemon tournament?
yeah.
Okay, they're like, you know, okay, we stayed a little bit later. I'll admit, you know, we didn't let them know we were going to stay later. But they're like, you should have called us. And I'm like, I couldn't find a payphone. And granted, yeah, we ended up finding out that there were payphones there.
How old are you? I'm just joking.
Well, that was before we were carrying.
It was like 7th grade. It had to have been 7th
I mean, most
grade.
kids nowadays have cell
we
phones
would-
before that, but we definitely
didn't have cell phones at
phones.
that point. And yeah, there ended up being payphones there, but they were in a very obscure area that, yes, I'll admit, I probably didn't look over there, but I didn't think there were. So I'll admit. But it was just this, you know, like we were with Shan's mom. It's not like we were, you know, unsupervised or anything like that. They just didn't know where we were. Cell phones didn't exist, so they couldn't get a hold
They
of
existed.
Shan's.
but
Okay,
cell phones weren't as widely distributed.
weren't readily available.
Consumer available.
Yeah, so
I'm
they
gonna
couldn't.
stick with they didn't exist.
They couldn't get a hold of
We're only
anyone.
23.
They couldn't get a hold of anyone, and it just, you know, it just happened. Well, I get home, and all of a sudden, they freaking out at me and everything like that. And we get grounded. I missed the next Pokemon tournament. That was my one chance to ever make the Worlds. And then the second time, that time I took Cade home. Oh my god. Like,
when he was just in the car, but we were just
okay,
driving.
yeah, so he had gotten into that
that's
huge
right.
accident.
That's right.
And he couldn't drive. And one day I guess his parents couldn't come get him, so he asked us for a ride. Well, he lives right across the street from us. So
Literally.
I was like
the exact same
it was
road.
like literally exact same road. It was I could walk to his house in half a minute. It was maybe even less than that, like 20 seconds. And so we had just got our licenses, and our parents were like, don't drive your friends. I was thinking, he's injured. He needs a ride home. No one's going to care if I give him a ride home. It's just a courtesy. I'm not driving us down
You're not
downtown
going anywhere
or
else
anything.
except
I was
home,
just
like-
driving straight home. I didn't deviate from my path by 1 inch. I didn't even stop and pull up at his house. I literally parked at home, and he walked home. It was that simple.
I remember
Yeah.
the summer Alan spent with the 3 beaver stuffed animals.
Wait,
That was only a week. It wasn't the summer.
Longer, it felt like the whole summer because like you were almost going insane.
Well, come on.
Oh, you were stuck in your room?
Yeah, because I ran away, and so I was grounded for a week with nothing. I had nothing.
It really teaches you not to run away again. It's like
except for 3 beaver stuffed animals, and that was it. And I was able. I got to the point where I named all 3 of them, and I knew which one was which. I could tell you which one was which.
Oh my gosh. But honestly, like, how does that instill, I will never run away again? It's like, I want to run away now.
The funny thing is, like, I don't know if you just wanted anything, like something, could have been anything, but why did you choose the 3 beaver stuffed animals? Because I know they were like, you could have, like, something, and you're like, oh, if I could just, it was like, it's almost like, I remember you, like, coming to them and being like, if I could just have these 3 stuffed animals, I understand not what I did, but I just want them.
I honestly don't remember.
He cracked.
It's like Aaron's favorite story, apparently.
Well, it was just, I think, like, they didn't want to give me anything at all. And so I'm like, they've got to give me stuffed animals and everything. And eventually we have this CD that was like an environmental CD, like recycling and staying clean and everything. And they let me listen to that too. So those are the 2 things that got me through. They were good songs though. They were good songs, but those are the 2 things that got me through that week. Those 2. Oh,
environmental songs.
Poke it with stick, put it in the back.
Wait, are you serious? That
was one of the songs, wasn't it?
No.
It sounded like you knew what you were doing.
Well, that's a joke that we've done before.
Yeah, but that was I kind of hated though the way people treated me when so we're just gonna run away, you know. But,
we had a group.
So
yeah, we had
Okay, but you know what's stupid about this? I wasn't even included in that. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, you're the lucky one.
What we thought you would be interested, and we were.
Wait, you were doing it too? You were running away as well? Did he even get grounded?
He did end up running away.
I knew about it, but I didn't actually do it. Now I remember the backstory, and that's why I love the story so
Oh
much.
my gosh.
We were at daycare with Jackie and Corey, and we all came up with this pact that we were going to run away and start a new life, and we were all going to meet up at the behind the daycare that we with them. And we put red dots on the back of our hand to signal our pact to each other that we were going to do it. And so the best part is we all wake up and Mom's freaking out because she doesn't know where Alan is, and I can't tell him I know.
Okay, that's something I don't think I've ever asked you guys. Why, why didn't you talk to me about it? Why didn't I know about this?
I don't know.
I have
Weren't
no
you
idea.
sick? Because you hung out with us, so you would have been
I'm pretty
there.
sure, you just weren't there when we decided or something.
Where was I?
No.
I had no idea. I hadn't heard about this, and of course, it was Peter Piper's day.
Yeah,
it was the one day of daycare that we wanted to go because they were going somewhere fun. We were going to do something. That's the day Alan runs away. Guess who didn't get to go?
That was the planned day. It's not my fault. Everyone else planned.
Poor planning, gosh.
It was peanut butter day plus going to some arcade or something.
Yeah, it was
So what? How old were you? It was daycare, so.
It was 6th
grade,
grade,
yeah.
10.
Oh.
So I was
Wow.
in 4th or
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
But
I was thinking younger.
I always had for some reason when I
daycare stories.
when I was young, I always had more of. I seem to have.
You were
I
emo. You were so.
I was
emo.
really emo, but I have the gall to do stupid things.
I don't understand.
I just remember daycare in black and white. It was so
That old.
mortifying. It was mortifying.
It was okay. You want to know how bad it was? There was 4 of us, maybe 5 of us at most, who were 4th grade and above. Okay, Aaron was the youngest one in our group, but below him it was 2nd and 1st graders and kindergartners.
Yeah,
that was in our class. We were the minority. Okay. We stayed out of everyone's business. We were good kids. All we wanted to do was sit down and play with the Legos, okay? None of the other stuff...
I just want a Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly. None of the other stuff interested us at all. We hated doing the other stuff. We had so much fun playing the Legos and everything like that. They wouldn't let us bring our own stuff. We couldn't bring our Pokemon cards to play with or things like that. And so that's all we wanted. But they forced us to play other things, to hang out with other kids. Like if we would end up trying to hang out with each other as much as we could. And if like 3 days had passed and the 4 of us had just sat at that table doing stuff all week, they'd be like, okay, you guys can't do things together anymore. You got to go out and do things with other people. And we're like, why? None of these people relate to us in any way. They're all immature. They're all too young. They all want to do the things we don't want to do. It's like, what's the point?
Well, and I hated that they like blamed us for everything.
Yeah.
Anytime there was a problem, it's like, what'd you guys do? And we're like, nothing.
We existed.
We're sitting here
We
playing
came to
Legos.
daycare.
How could we have pushed that kid all the way across the room when we've been sitting here playing Legos? We didn't pay someone not to do it. We're not the mafia.
Yeah. And when
You know what it could have been? It could have been the what was that movie called? Where it was all in like his camera. And Chronicle, yeah, that's what he did. He chronicled his.
Yeah, there could be like a broken light bulb and like a kid with a bat, and they just come to us and be like, "What did you guys do?"
Look at that kid. He's playing baseball.
He's
Well,
carrying a
and it's
bat
like-
indoors.
it's like we kept to
broke it.
ourselves. We kept to ourselves. We didn't interact with the other kids. They're the ones who would always come up to us and start like trying to annoy us and everything like that.
And we'd tell
and then
them,
we
like,
tell them
go
to leave
away.
leave us alone. What?
And mess with our Legos.
I'm kidding. I hated that. Like we got the Legos so often that we started just building things and keeping them built inside the Legos.
And
Yeah.
we would even like cube them. And
Yeah, like so we would make
Wow.
something like this and we'd remember how it was made, but we needed to hide it, so we'd take it apart and make it into a little block and just shove it as far down into the bottom as we could, so that when we like other people would play with it, they just take stuff from the top and they wouldn't find it, and then when we got back we could reach down and find our stuff.
Oh my gosh.
'Cause there were certain pieces that you found every
that
once
you-
in a
yeah.
while, but
They were
then
treasured Legos.
yeah, but then if someone else put it back in there and messed up, you couldn't find that piece again for weeks.
My favorite was the Togepi farm.
Yeah, our Togepi farm.
We found like a white piece, a white square piece and a yellow square piece, put them together, and that was a Togepi. We made like 40 or 50 of them, and
Oh my
everywhere.
God.
And it was a Togepi
We made
farm.
Pokemon centers and
Yeah.
Pokemon battle arenas. It was,
I am so happy I was a latchkey kid.
you should be.
Yeah.
Daycare was horrendous.
Although your childhood isn't,
Well,
necessarily.
the latchkey kid when I lived in Utah.
There was one thing, and it was also about you, Alan. It was another funny story. I like
Oh,
about
here
you.
we
I have a-
the freak out in the freak out in the graveyard thing. Is that the one you're talking about?
That's from
That's a
childhood.
good one. You
too.
keep thinking. You're gonna
Okay,
tell that one
go
though.
ahead.
So we went on Halloween. Me and a few people from the theater department went to the cemetery to go looking for ghosts and everything. And so we're just walking around the graves and everything, having a great time and everything. And at one point, I came to this graveyard. And I was reading it, and then when I looked up, I saw something out there, and it looked like a little kid. So I freaked out and everything. I'm like, oh, and then I looked closer, and it was just like some statue.
It is some
of
little
a
kid. It's
deer.
like, what?
It was
Oh
like
my
some
gosh.
statue of a deer, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I'm just staring at it and everything. And then the
but it was
head
a real
moves,
deer.
and it was a real deer. And I was like, holy! So like in the course of like 2 minutes, I'd
Went
had
from
a
child
mini heart
to
attack.
statue to deer.
And then
statue.
it ran towards me, but it ran past me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go home.
Well,
I'm
what-
gonna kill myself.
What about my deer story? Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I was thinking
Yeah,
about.
so-
it was just the irony of what you saw on the way to work. That's
Okay,
what
well, yeah,
made it.
so I walked past this wooded area on this way to my old job up at the U at the development center, and I would always pass, and there's this little like ravine under area, and most of the time it was empty and everything like that. Maybe every once in a while there's garbage and stuff, but this day,
Probably all
this
garbage.
This day I walked past and there's a bed and a little tent kind of made up and clothing hanging on the on the trees and stuff like that, it looks like someone was living there. No one was there at the time, but it looked like somebody was.
It's just a cool way of how you had explained it to me when you first told me. You're like, so I walked by and I was like, oh, there's a homeless guy living here. So all of a sudden it was like an exhibit. And you're like, oh, and now these are moving to new neighbors. And you're like going to work not thinking anything of it.
I wasn't thinking anything of it. But I always went during the day and then I left at night when it was dark and it was winter. So what?
I just remember when I was waiting for you at the train tracks.
and I tripped.
Oh, you biffed it so hardcore. It was the funniest moment ever. And I feel bad.
He laughed. He laughed so hard that day, and now he's laughing so hard now.
It was the funniest thing. Because you were just carrying the things that I thought in my mind. I was like, I hope he doesn't trip or drop. He totally does.
Anyways, I'm walking back, okay, at night, and you're walking past this wooded area, and all of a sudden in the trees, I hear rustling, and the first thing that came in my head was, oh my god, the homeless guy is coming after me. And then these two things pop out of the trees and start like running at me. And I'm like, oh my god, he has dogs. And he's sticking his dogs at me. And then like in that like 2 seconds, I realize they're deer, but they're still bounding straight for me. And they stop like 2 feet in front of me and like just like freak out. And I'm freaked out there too. And then we're just staring at each other for like 5 seconds and they run off. And I'm like freaking out, and I just keep walking, and I'm like, oh god, I hope the hobo doesn't get me now. And I almost booked it to the track station after that.
Was it with you guys when we went walking up Butterfield Canyon?
Yeah.
Like pretty far, and then we heard
we
something.
were trying to pretend like we were hearing something. Then we really did, and it was someone's voice, and we ran as fast as we could back to my car.
Were you there?
You were there. I'm pretty sure you were.
Yeah.
And we were going to hike up Butterfield Canyon, but it just got so...
the cough? Wasn't it like the coughing sound?
Wait, so it was you?
No, I remember that.
Because you were laughing probably the whole way of us running back to the car. I was scared for my life, especially because I dropped my keys as I was trying to unlock the car, and that wasn't...
behind us! You're like, death, ramp death, everyone who drops their keys dies.
Exactly, everyone does, and that's the thing. Like, I took out the keys and I was like, I gotta get it in, and all of a sudden they drop it. I'm like, I'm a dead man. It's over. It's done.
We're done.
I should have just been like, all right, everyone, lie down right now. It's over. I don't know why you'd lie down, but...
Because it's your sex life.
But it was like a cough. It was like a cough, right? That's what we heard.
I thought it was someone's voice.
You know what's weird?
And it sounded more to me like he was on a phone call conversation walking out. And
It might have been.
And poor guy. He's probably like, what the
fuck? As we freak out. Well, I was walking up Butterfield with Kylie the other day, and there's this area that as you're walking up to it, there's a lot of foliage, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But if you go around to try to get into it, someone has a pretty nice setup there, like a camp setup and everything like that. And it's just they covered it up so no one could see it from the thing. And we're walking, and I look, and I think I saw someone there. And I'm like, okay, Kylie, we're going back now. I don't want someone to ambush us on our way back because it was starting to get dark. But I don't think I'm gonna do night hikes at Butterfield anymore. Not because I'm afraid something weird is gonna happen. I'm afraid some murderer is gonna kill me.
Well, I'll just deck myself.
With all your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how Alan convinces us to go up into the woods and kill
at night. We'll kill them, don't worry.
We need to go hiking to the hot spring again, though. I like
so
that
you
hike.
could not get in the hot spring?
No, but I like the actual hike.
The hot spring was nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a hot spring.
And it wasn't that hot
spring.
Well, it was warm, yeah. Like when I went, it was scorching hot. I don't know why it was
because it was dark.
No, it was at night too. Like
that river was freezing.
But it was pretty
cold.
cold.
We sat in the river and it was steaming hot.
Well, what day did we go? Do you guys remember?
Anyways,
I remember I was really cold and I was just wearing a
It was
t-shirt.
towards the end of summer.
Yeah, so it was probably just because of the temperature. We'll just have to
So
go
did you
during
think
the
of your
summer.
story?
I mean,
With me?
That's alright.
yeah.
Think on it, and we'll come back to that.
it.
Is it from high school or what?
We'll think a little bit later. Anyway,
Okay.
That's our podcast.
That's the Pandemonium Podcast. You guys, hope you enjoy. And,
Pandemonium.
yeah, and keep an eye out. We'll be doing more of this stuff later.
Love you.
Bye.